name's Nick, and I'm filling in this week for Miss Dana. This month, we're on a mission to space, the final frontier. We are here to boldly do what needs to be done. We are ready to launch. All systems go for initiative. What is initiative? Initiative is seeing what needs to be done and doing it. And it's not just astronauts in space who need initiative. You and I need initiative to take care of things that we need done in our world every day. With God's help, we can be on the lookout so we can see the needs around us. Then we can do something about them. At Hope Kids, we know that worshiping God is more than just singing songs. Worshiping is about living life in a way that honors God. Living life loud, so those around us know who we follow, which is Jesus. Check out this video on the ways we can show initiative in our lives and live life loud.
How good are your eyes? Better. But that's not actually what I mean. I'm talking about what you pay attention to as you go through your day. Do you see that candy wrapper on the sidewalk? The dishwasher that needs to be unloaded? What about the toy lying in the middle of the floor that someone is definitely gonna trip over? Do your eyes pay attention to the kid playing alone on the playground? Or your older neighbor trying to wheel her trash bin up the driveway? All around you, there are things that need to be done, just waiting for someone to step up. And that someone can be you. When you see that piece of trash, toss it in the can. Take that silverware and slide it in the drawer. Pick up that toy and put it away. Invite that kid to join your kickball team. And offer to help your neighbor get her rolling bin back to the house. When you see a need and you make a move to take care of it, that's initiative. It's a great way to show love to the people around you. When you see what needs to be done and do it, others can see God at work in you. That's why initiative is an amazing way to worship God with your life. Because worship is about more than just singing loud. It's all about living loud.
I'm so ready to jump back into the story of Nehemiah today because it gives us such a great example of initiative. If you've been joining us this month, you might remember that Nehemiah traveled to Jerusalem to see the broken down city walls. He knew that the city was unsafe without walls to protect it, so something had to be done. But Nehemiah didn't wait for someone else to do it. He took initiative. He rallied the people to work and together and rebuild the wall. This week, we see how Nehemiah deals with some distractions. Not everyone liked what Nehemiah was doing. He had enemies who tried to get the people distracted from finishing the wall. Let's check out today's story and see how he sees through their plan and focuses on the job that God gave him to finish.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Nehemiah, chapters 2, 4, and 6.
When Nehemiah traveled to Jerusalem and surveyed the broken down walls, he saw immediately what had to be done.
We must rebuild.
God moved the hearts of the people to join him.
Let's get started.
Hooray!
But while the Jewish people were eager to repair the tumbled down walls and ruined gates, the people in the lands around them were not so thrilled.
What do they think they're doing?
A city with no walls stood open to attack. The people inside could never become a strong nation. The enemies of the Jews knew that if the wall of Jerusalem was rebuilt, the Jewish people might become a powerful enemy.
They must cease and desist.
Sanballat, a Horonite, and Tobiah, an official from Ammon, marched right up to the place where the people gathered to begin work.
Pathetic. What a ragtag group.
Why bother to even start? You shall never finish.
Plus, the king is gonna think you're trying to take over.
Nehemiah kept his cool.
The God of heaven will give us success. We serve him. So we'll start rebuilding the walls.
Good luck with that.
Nehemiah and the Israelites didn't need luck. They needed God's help. It was true that a few of the Jewish people were builders.
Let's see. We've got priests, nobles, goldsmiths, perfume makers, farmers, grape growers, shepherds, any stonemasons. Well, let's get organized.
Where he could, Nehemiah assigned each family group to work on a section of the wall closest to their home.
Eliashib, you and the other priests will rebuild the sheep gate. Then, work on the wall up to the Tower of the 100.
On it!
Hassanah's family, I want you to work on the fish gate, lay its beams, and repair the doors with metal bolts and bars.
We've got this.
Nehemiah continued to give each family or group a part of the wall to rebuild. Old and young, men and women, they put everything they had to gather the fallen stones and hewing beams. In a short time, the wall began to rise again.
Inconceivable.
Sanballat and Tobiah were shocked to see the Jews actually making progress. They would mock the work to anyone who would listen.
Do those Jews think they can make the wall new in a single day? Preposterous! The stones are all scattered and piled up like garbage.
Suppose an itty-bitty fox tried to climb up on that excuse for a wall. Ah! The whole thing would fall down.
Once again, Nehemiah ignored the heckling. Instead, he prayed as he worked.
God, please listen to our prayer. Some people hate us. They're saying bad things about us. Don't hide your eyes from their guilt.
With a burst of energy, the people worked even harder until the wall was half as high as it needed to be.
Preposterous!
Time for some action.
Tobiah and Sanballat began to plot with the surrounding nations to attack Jerusalem before the wall could be finished.
We must set guards, day and night.
Even with guards in place, enemies threatened, and the Jews were exhausted.
There's rubble everywhere, and our enemies say that no matter where we are, they'll attack.
Nehemiah refused to be distracted. He stationed families at the weakest parts of the walls, armed with swords, spears, and bows.
Don't be afraid. Fight for your families.
From that day, everyone carried their weapons, even as they worked.
If you hear the sound of the trumpet, run to join us. God will fight for us.
Nehemiah and the Jews worked from the very first light of sunrise until the stars came out at night. At last, the wall itself was finished.
It's full height. All the gaps are filled.
Yeah!
But we can't rest yet. The entrance gate still must be repaired.
Sanballat was furious, but he had another play to make. So he sent a message to Nehemiah, who was working high on the wall.
Sanballat says, "Come, let's talk with one another. Let's meet in one of the villages on the plain of Ono."
Oh no, I don't think so.
Nehemiah knew perfectly well they were planning to harm him, but he stayed focused on the work and sent his own messenger to Sanballat.
Nehemiah says, I am working on a huge project. Why should the work stop while I leave it? Why should I go down and talk with you?
Inconceivable! Try again.
5 times, Sanballat sent messages. He even threatened to tell the Persian king that Nehemiah was trying to make himself king.
Tell Sanballat you're just making that up.
Oh, I'll have to send another message.
Time for a new strategy.
Sanballat made one last desperate attempt. He hired a man named Shemaiah to make Nehemiah look bad with his own people.
Nehemiah, some men are coming at night to kill you. Let's go hide in the temple and lock the doors.
Nehemiah knew that God had not sent Shemaiah.
Should a man like me run away? No, I won't go.
Once again, Nehemiah saw through the tricks of his enemies. Instead of hiding away and looking foolish, He trusted God and doubled down on the work. On the 52nd day of work, the wall and gates were finished.
No!
The wall had been finished in record time by a group of ordinary, everyday people. It was clear to everyone that God had helped Nehemiah and the Jews stay focused and finish strong.
What a powerful story. Nehemiah and the people could have felt overwhelmed by all the work they had to do in Jerusalem and by the challenges that they had to face. But they didn't get distracted. They didn't back down, and they stayed focused on the job that they had to do. If we're not careful, we can get distracted from doing things like homework or chores around the house because we would rather play video games or watch TV. We can start to lose focus when we feel worried or even afraid. Sometimes we can be distracted by people who try to get us to do something we know that we shouldn't do. It's not always easy to stay focused on what needs to be done. But remember, God is strong and faithful. He can give us strength as we do the work He has called us to do. We can trust God no matter what. When we remember that, we can stay focused on what needs to be done. Let's keep the fun going as we sing and worship God together. I love singing these songs to worship God and thank Him for His greatness. There's no one like Him. He can be trusted because He's faithful. Lift up your praise to God as we sing this song of worship. This month, we've been learning our monthly memory verse. Memorizing our verse requires a lot of focus, just like staying focused on what needs to be done in your daily life. I know you're all working with your whole heart, just like our verse tells us to do. Let's say it together. Work at everything you do with all your heart. Work as if you were working for the Lord. Colossians 3:23. Thanks everybody for joining us today. As we leave today, our hope is that you will see that focusing on the task at hand is very important. God has all sorts of jobs for us to do, and we can trust Him to give us the focus that we need to finish them. And we look forward to hearing how. See you next week, guys.